So we have had another crazy weekend going on in the Championship. We had some mad games going on this weekend, so do let me know in the comments down below, what did you make of your team's performance? As not everyone was in action in the Championship this weekend though, what I thought I'd do for a video today instead of a video of the Championship roundup is have a bit of a discussion about the teams at the top and bottom of the Championship at this point in time. So what we'll be doing in today's video, we'll be looking at the fixtures that all the clubs have remaining for the remainder of this season and deciding who has the best chance of both promotion and relegation this season. We will be discussing the games which went on throughout the weekend, throughout the course of the video as well, and we had some very good ones going on. We had a really dramatic game between Sheffield Wednesday and Rotherham, with Wednesday equalising in the last minute and Fernando Forestieri getting sent off in the process. West Brom beat Aston Villa by 2-0. Norwich absolutely dismantled Bolton by 4-0. The same can be said for Sheffield United against Reading. And we also had some mad games going on in the FA Cup as well. So do let me know in the comments down below, what did you make of your team's performance? In terms of a result of the weekend, I'll probably just give that one to West Brom for a 2-0 away victory at Villa. And in terms of my goal of the weekend, now there were some crackers scored this weekend. Norwich scored some exquisite goals against Bolton, but I'm going to have to give it to Daniel James for his goal in the FA Cup against Brentford. Absolutely ridiculous. He turned into a prime Gareth Bale scorer, now outpacing 3 Brentford players from inside his own half and then slotted it into the back of the net. What a goal that was from the Swansea winger. So after this weekend's action in the Championship, that is how the Championship table is currently lining up, with Norwich and Sheffield United sat as the top 2 at the moment. Now, it's a bit deceiving maybe the Championship table, because we do have teams on an unequal number of games. Some teams have played 31, some have played 32 and some have played 33. If we look at the Championship table from this time last season, Wolves were already way out in front with 72 points. Cardiff in second were already 11 points behind the league leaders. We've not got that in the Championship this season, and that's why it's so engaging at the moment. So we'll start this video out at the top of the Championship and then work our way downwards. So what you'll see on screen now will be a side's remaining fixtures against either the top 7 in the Championship or the bottom 4. So obviously the more teams they've got to play at the top of the Championship for the rest of the season, the harder their running is. And starting it out with Norwich City, who are currently sat at the top of the Championship, I myself would argue that they probably got the easiest running out of anyone else for the remainder of the season. Their 2 games left against the top 7 is a home game against Bristol City and an away trip against Middlesbrough. Apart from that, their fixture list is looking quite favourable. Obviously the game they had at the weekend was an absolute demolition of Bolton Wanderers. It could have been so much more if it wasn't for Remy Matthews in net for Bolton in that game. They were looking absolutely ruthless going forward. They scored some exquisite goals. Some of the combinations of play going forward was just relentless. And even despite them having a bit of a blip against Preston in midweek, the team who's probably filling me with most confidence at this point in time to be promoted is probably going to be Norwich City. The reason I say that is because they've got goals all around the pitch. It's a system under Daniel Farke which they're all accustomed to now. And looking at their fixtures from now until the end of the season, I honestly don't see them dropping that many more points, especially compared to some of the other teams around them who've still got a lot of hard fixtures to go. So for Norwich City at the moment, I must say I'm feeling quite confident that they may go on to do it. Norwich fans, let me know down below, what are your thoughts on promotion at this point in time, as long as it doesn't go down to the playoffs and they're forced to go into a penalty shootout, because they have been diabolical with penalties so far this season. They missed 6 out of the 7 penalties they've had already. So as long as there's going to be no penalty shootouts from now till the end of the season, I think Norwich could go on and do it. Sheffield United still have some tough games to come up in the Championship. They've still got 3 of the top 7 to play, and 2 of those games are away from home. A trip to West Brom and Leeds United, as well as a home game against Bristol City, is still to come for Sheffield United this season. The one thing I would say about Sheffield United though, recently especially, is their record against the top 6 has been very good. You know, we saw them beat Middlesbrough in midweek, they drew 2-2 with Norwich away from home, and they managed to beat Derby 3-1 not too long ago as well. So Sheffield United at the moment, I still think are looking like a very strong outfit in terms of promotion. One big bonus for Sheffield United has been their January transfer business. We saw Gary Medine scoring in the game they had against Reading. Kieran Dowell's been excellent since arriving so far as well. And Scott Hogan's also going to chip in with goals from now until the end of the season. I've got the feeling that at this point in time, Norwich are probably going to go on to win the Championship. That's what I'm feeling at the moment. I feel like they're the most complete outfit at this point in time. And then second place is a real toss-up between Sheffield United, Leeds United and West Brom at this point in time. I'd be interested to get your guys' perspective on that. And speaking of Leeds United, these are their fixtures from now until the end of the season. Obviously they weren't in action in the Championship this weekend, so they do have a game in hand on the 2 sides above them. They've got West Brom at home, Bristol City away and Sheffield United at home as their remaining games against the top 7. Some bad news for Leeds United though has been that Kamar Roof has been ruled out for the next few weeks with an injury. And probably the only thing that's going to stop this Leeds squad from going on and achieving promotion this season, it could be injuries. You know, from the start of the season up until now, they have been incredibly unlucky with the amount of players they've had out injured. In fairness to this Leeds squad, they have dealt fairly well with all the players they've had out injured throughout the season, but having Kamar Roof out, obviously the goal scoring onus is going to fall upon Patrick Bamford now. A very capable striker in the Championship, don't get me wrong, but if anything was to happen to Bamford, to have Roofe and Bamford out, I'm not sure if Leeds could sustain, you know, the current level of performances without their two main strikers. So Patrick Bamford, it's going to be crucial he stays fit until the end of the season. As long as there are no more injuries for this Leeds squad, then I'd probably just edge them above Sheffield United in terms of who I think could get promoted. But if there are to be many more outgoings of injuries for Leeds, then I feel like they could just fall short. And then we have West Brom currently sat 4th in the Championship. Now they do have a game in hand like Leeds United on the teams above them, and if they do go on and win that game, they'll be 1 point behind Sheffield United, currently sat in 2nd in the Championship at the moment. So obviously West Brom and automatic promotion could still very well be on for them for the rest of the season, although they do have quite a tricky run in, I must say. They got a game against Sheffield United at home, and then they face Bristol City, Leeds United and Derby County all away from home. So that's going to be interesting to see how West Brom do fare for the rest of the season. Their away record has been fairly consistent throughout the season. They have actually picked up some decent results against teams high up in the Championship away so far. They beat Sheffield United away from home so far this season. I believe they beat Norwich away from home earlier on in the season as well. They've definitely got goals in this squad. I think that having 2 goal scorers in Jay Rodriguez and Dwight Gale when he gets back from his suspension is going to be big for this West Brom squad. There are still some questions over their defensive capabilities. They can look a little bit shaky to me at times. They've only kept clean sheets in 19% of their games so far this season, which is by far the worst record out of any team in the top 6 at the moment. So that's an area where West Brom do need to look into, but apart from that, they've still got a good chance of promotion. Then we've got Middlesbrough sat 5th in the Championship at the moment, and I must say, they do have a very favourable run in. They've got 2 fixtures against the top 7 left. Both of them are home matches against Norwich and Bristol City, and they've also got 3 at the bottom 4 still to play in the Championship. One thing that I would say about Middlesbrough, I thought their performance on Sunday against Blackburn Rovers was incredibly encouraging, working as a front 2 of Asombalonga and Fletcher. They had 26 shots in that game, which has been a total contrast to Middlesbrough for the majority of this season so far. Johnny B. McKell was dominant in midfield, and it seems like maybe Tony Pulis has a formula now for this Borough side to go forward for the rest of the season. I said in the prediction video I had a couple months ago that I wasn't sure if Middlesbrough were going to end up finishing in the top 6. I thought that they may fade away come the end of the season. Goals may be a bit of an issue, but that performance they had against Blackburn at Ewood Park, which has been quite a tough ground for a lot of teams to go to so far this season, has filled me with quite a bit of confidence for this Borough side. They've been able to keep clean sheets in 44% of their matches so far this season, which is an absolutely staggering stat, and looking at where they are positioned in the Championship at the moment, with a game in hand on Norwich and Sheffield United in the top 2 at the moment, Middlesbrough, I think, surely they'll be finishing in the top 6 now. And sat 6th in the Championship at the moment, we have got Bristol City now. They are probably the hardest team to call in my opinion for where they will finish come the end of the season. Interestingly enough, this time last season in the Championship, Bristol City were sat in exactly the same position of the table on exactly the same amount of points. So there is always that fear lingering over Bristol City that they'll hit a really bad run of form, they'll lose about 5 games in a row, and then that'll be their playoff hopes gone for the rest of the season. But there just seems to be something a little bit different about them this season. Obviously they did lose the game at the weekend in the FA Cup against Wolves, but I think that that may be a little bit of a blessing in disguise really, so that they can turn their full attention back to the league now. The way they shape up is a little bit different to last season as well. Last season a lot of their games tended to be quite high scoring, they'd score a lot of goals, but equally defensively they didn't always look too sharp. But this season that seems to be flipped on its head. Defensively they've been very sharp so far this season. Webster has been absolutely phenomenal for them, and Callas has partnered him excellently. However, compared to everyone else currently sat in the top 6, they by far have the hardest fixture running from now until the end of the season. If you look at that, they've got all of the teams around them still left to play. They've got every single team in the top 7, obviously apart from themselves, still to play. So it's going to be a really fascinating one to see how Bristol City hold their nerve in some of those games. So they've got Norwich away, Leeds at home, Sheffield United away, Middlesbrough away, West Brom at home and Derby at home. I guess in some ways that could either be seen as a massive disadvantage or an advantage. Obviously if Bristol City managed to take points from all those games, then they could even go on and challenge for automatic promotion this season. Do I see that happening? They do have 2 games in hand on some of the teams above them, so we've seen crazier things happen in the Championship before, but I just feel like that fixture running will have a bit of a toll on some of these Bristol City players. I think because Bristol City's fixtures are so hard, Derby have got to be fancying their chances now. Obviously they went out of the FA Cup this weekend as well, losing against Brighton, which once again may be a bit of a blessing in disguise for them. Their fixtures are looking quite favourable. They've got an away trip against Bristol City and a home match against West Brom, and apart from that they've got no one else to play in terms of the teams above them currently. They've also got home games against Rotherham United and Bolton still to come, which you'd expect Derby to be taking maximum points from. I think what we've seen from Derby lately is they have been missing the creativity of Mason Mount in midfield for some of their games. That could probably be seen by the FA Cup game they had against Brighton at the weekend. As soon as he does get back into this Derby squad, then I could see them going on a bit of a run in the Championship. Also having Jack Marriott back in the squad now as well is going to be a bonus. They've been a little bit inconsistent throughout the season, Derby, but when they are playing at their best, they can be a ruthless attacking force in the Championship. And the more we see of that from now until the end of the season, with having quite a favourable run in, it could be Derby's year to finish in the top 6 and go on to get promoted. So there are the teams currently sat in the top 7 of the Championship. If we do look back at the Championship table now and look at some of the teams who are just below that playoff bracket at this point in time, we'll have a bit of a discussion about maybe the teams who could go on and provide a late surge towards the top 6. So we've got Nottingham Forest, Birmingham, Aston Villa, Preston, Hull City and Swansea City, who are probably the sides who feasibly could go on and maybe have that late push towards the top 6. Nottingham Forest sat in 8th. I've got a bit of a feeling that it's not too late for them to go on. You know, looking at their squad at this point in time, they've still got an abundance of talent throughout there. They were involved in a 0-0 draw with my team Preston this weekend, where I thought that Martin O'Neill really did quite well in that game actually. He set up to nullify Preston. We couldn't get anything going forward for ourselves. And Forest did get a little bit unlucky with one of the disallowed goals which went in for them in that one. You know, it was given for a foul on the keeper, but that probably shouldn't have been given, and Forest probably did get a little bit unlucky not to go on and pick up 3 points from that game. Birmingham are a little bit of an odd one in the Championship at the moment. They have been a little bit up or down. Obviously losing that game against Bolton really came out of nowhere. I think everyone was pretty much back in Birmingham to get all 3 points from that one, but apart from that performance, obviously they've got the goal scorer at the moment in Cherthams. Jota, since he's been playing in that number 10 position, has been very influential for them. They also don't concede many goals, and maybe if everyone is able to stay fit for now until the end of the season, then Birmingham could go on and push for it. Aston Villa have certainly got the squad to make the top 6, but I feel like it's a little bit too late for them at the moment. The run of form they're currently on in the Championship has been absolutely disastrous. Dean Smith's obviously trying to get his ideas across to this Villa squad, and things started very positively for him there, but as of late, things haven't been convincing for Villa. It was another very disappointing performance at the weekend, losing 2-0 against West Brom. I think they're crying out for Jack Grealish to get back into that squad sooner rather than later, but even the returning Jack Grealish, I'm not sure if he'll be able to salvage this season for Villa. Preston's resurgence in the Championship has been absolutely fantastic to see. Can we still go on and make the top 6? It's not completely out of bounds, but I don't really think so. We have got quite a tough fixture running from now until the end of the season. We've still got quite a few of the top 6 still to play, but when we are on our game and we've got a full squad available, we can take on anyone in the Championship. You know, that was seen by our midweek victory against Norwich City. Also, having Callum Robinson soon returning into the starting 11 is going to be a big bonus for us, and I'm hoping that we can continue this unbeaten run for as long as possible, but I just think at the moment that the playoffs will be one step too far. And the same could probably be said for the sides below Preston at the moment. Hull on their day can be a fantastic outfit, obviously with players like Grosicki and Bowen being on fire lately in the Championship. I just feel like they'll be a little bit too inconsistent. The same could be said for Swansea City as well. And then below that in the Championship, I don't see anyone else sneaking into the playoffs. But there are the sides currently battling it out nearer the top of the Championship. We will now move on into talking about the relegation zone and the sides who could potentially be going down to League One this season. We're starting it out at the bottom of the Championship. We've got Ipswich Town currently 9 points adrift of safety in the Championship. I think that most people are fairly certain that there is going to be relegation for Ipswich. I think a lot of the Ipswich fans are saying the same at the moment, although things have been looking up recently for them. You know, I think that since Paul Lambert has come in, there's been a bit more positivity around the club. I think a lot of their performances are building towards next year in League One as well, and looking over their fixture list, I mean, they've got some pretty tough fixtures coming up. Away from home, their record's been pretty abysmal this season. They've only won 1 away match so far. They've got away games against West Brom, Bristol City and Sheffield United, all still to come, as well as a home game against Leeds United. I think Ipswich will be going down, but at least under Paul Lambert, they're building to something next year in League One. I think that most people will have said the same about Bolton Wanderers a couple of weeks ago, that they were definitely destined for League One. A lot of people maybe still be thinking the same thing, but after that really bizarre game against Birmingham in midweek where Bolton were able to walk away with a 1-0 away victory, maybe that Bolton, you know, this side isn't quite dead and buried yet. They were absolutely annihilated by Norwich at the weekend, but I think that most people were expecting that really. Bolton's season is going to be defined against the sides in the top 6. Speaking of games against teams in the top 6 at the moment, they've got Leeds, Middlesbrough and Derby County still to play, and they've only got Ipswich to play in terms of sides currently sat in the bottom 4 of the Championship. I myself think that the last relegation spot is going to be a showdown between Rotherham United and Reading, and looking at both of their fixture lists, they've got a really hard run in. Looking at Rotherham, first of all, they've still got to play Sheffield United away, Norwich at home, Derby away, West Brom away and Middlesbrough at home. So Rotherham, you know, away from home so far this season, they've not been the best travellers on the road, and the thing that's been holding this Rotherham side back is they've had some very good performances at home lately in the Championship, but even so, in those games they've not been picking up all 3 points, they've been drawing them. And then looking at Reading's remaining fixtures for the rest of this season, they also have some very tough games to come. They've got Leeds at home, Norwich away, Bristol City away, West Brom at home and Middlesbrough away, all yet to come in the Championship. But what could be a season-defining game is Rotherham going up against Reading. That is going to be absolutely huge in determining who is going down in the Championship. So guys, let me know in the comments down below, out of those two sides, who do you fancy to stay up? Millwall certainly aren't out of the relegation troubles at the moment though either. They've got some very tough fixtures still to come in the Championship. So what's probably going to keep Millwall up this season is going to be their home form. I see them picking up quite a few points from now until the end of the season in some of their home fixtures. And the same can be said for Wigan Athletic as well, really. I don't think they'll go down because I think their home form will be the determining factor between them staying up and some of the teams below them in the Championship. Currently away from home, that's been a bit of a different story so far. They also have some pretty tough away fixtures coming up. They get on the away trip against Derby, Bristol City and Leeds United. And then above that in the Championship, I don't really see anyone else being in too much danger of relegation really. QPR, although they have been on an awful run lately, I think they'll be fine. Stoke City as well, no doubt they've been the biggest flop of the Championship season so far, but they won't go down. They've got too much in that squad. Brentford, I actually think will end the season very well. I think that they could potentially push up into the top half for the rest of the season. They've got a lot more goals in them now. And with Steve Bruce and Sheffield Wednesday, I think he'll experiment with that squad for the rest of this season. And then for Blackburn Rovers, although they have hit a bit of a rough patch in their season, I see them finishing around about where they are on the table at the moment. But guys, there you have it. That will now wrap it up for this video. So do let me know in the comments down below, who are you fancying to finish in the top 6 and the bottom 3 for the remainder of this season. But like I said guys, that will now wrap it up for this video. So thank you so much for watching. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.